Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samar News. Here are today's headlines. Security forces have killed 41 militants belonging to Fitna al-Khawarij and Fitna al-Hindustan in 2 intelligence-based operations in Balochistan. The army says 30 were killed near Harnai and 11 in Panjgur, with weapons, explosives and looted cash recovered during the raids.
US President Donald Trump says he plans to engage in talks with Iran amid escalating tensions, while Washington moves additional warships toward Iranian waters. Trump told reporters, "I am planning on it. It would be great if we didn't have to use the deployed ships." Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth confirmed the military is prepared to act on the president's orders. Iran stressed defense readiness over negotiations. Army Commander Amir Hamati announced 1,000 new strategic drones, and negotiator Kazem Garibabadi said Tehran's priority is full preparedness. Regional diplomacy continues, with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi set for talks in Turkiye, even as the US fleet, led by USS Abraham Lincoln, positions near Iranian waters.
The United States and Russia are on the brink of a new nuclear arms race, barring a last-minute agreement to extend their final remaining arms control treaty. The New START treaty is due to expire on February 5th, leaving less than a week for Washington and Moscow to reach an 11th-hour deal. Without the treaty, there would be no limits on long-range nuclear arsenals for the first time since the Cold War, ending decades of arms control that began with landmark agreements signed in 1972 by the then US President Richard Nixon and Soviet leader Leonid Brezhnev. The Kremlin says US President Donald Trump has personally asked Russian President Vladimir Putin to pause attacks on Kyiv until 1st February to create a better environment for peace talks. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov gave no further comment, and Russia's response was not disclosed. Ukraine said it would reciprocate if its energy infrastructure is spared amid bitter cold weather.
US President Donald Trump cautions Britain against pursuing business deals with China as UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer met Chinese President Xi Jinping to reset relations. Trump told reporters, "Well, it's very dangerous for them to do that," without giving details, while Starmer held talks in Beijing, focusing on market access, lower tariffs, and investment agreements. Starmer, the first British PM to visit China since 2018, described meetings with Xi as very warm and noted progress on visa-free travel and reduced whiskey tariffs. He emphasized Britain would maintain strong ties with both the US and China.
Donald Trump has chosen former Federal Reserve Governor Kevin Warsh to head the US Central Bank when Jerome Powell's leadership term ends in May, giving a frequent Fed critic a chance to put his idea of monetary policy regime change into practice, at a moment when the president has pushed for more control over the central bank. The Fed has long been seen as a stabilizing force in global financial markets, due in no small part to its perceived independence from politics. Meanwhile, President Trump has said that the man shot dead by federal agents in Minnesota was an agitator and possibly an insurrectionist. Alex Pretty's death has triggered nationwide outrage, while internal guidance now tells ICE officers in Minnesota to avoid engaging with protesters during enforcement operations.
The World Health Organization, WHO, says the risk of Nipah virus spreading beyond India is low after Indian authorities confirmed 2 cases in West Bengal. WHO advised that no travel or trade restrictions are needed and praised India's containment measures. Both infected health workers are receiving treatment, while 196 contacts traced remain asymptomatic. Nipah virus, first identified in 1998 in Malaysia and Singapore, is zoonotic and can spread from animals like fruit bats and pigs, or via person-to-person contact. Symptoms range from fever and headache to severe encephalitis, with a fatality rate of 40 to 75%, though human-to-human transmission is limited. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says he expects the US administration to respect Canada's sovereignty amid reports that US officials met with the Alberta Prosperity Project, a group pushing for a referendum on Alberta's independence. Carney added that President Trump had never raised the issue with him. The APP reportedly seeks another US meeting to request a $500 billion credit facility.
Separately, President Trump has threatened a 50% tariff on all Canadian-made aircraft unless Canada immediately certifies US-built Gulfstream business jets. Trump has accused Ottawa of blocking Gulfstream approvals and said the US would decertify Canadian aircraft, including Bombardier models, until the issue is resolved. Israel will reopen the Rafah border crossing with Egypt on Sunday, the first opening of Gaza's main exit route since May last year. The crossing will allow limited returns by Gazans from Egypt following security clearance as part of a ceasefire framework. And gold prices slid more than 4% after rumours the Federal Reserve could take a more hawkish turn, triggering a sharp pullback from record highs. Despite the drop, gold is still heading for its strongest monthly gain since 1982, as investors seek safety amid ongoing geopolitical and economic uncertainty. Meanwhile, the World Gold Council has said that global gold demand hit a record high in 2025, pushing gold prices to record levels. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samar.tv. Thank you for watching Samar News.